The three best types of rental property investments that work really well today in 2025. As we all know, things have changed quite a bit over the last couple of years with buying real estate in general, whether it's a personal property or even rental properties. We've got high interest rates. Purchase prices have gone up substantially. They continue to go up year over year. And we have this lock-in effect where people have mortgages that they originated 3-4 years ago when interest rates were at an all-time low. So their payments are super low, so they don't want to sell. So this applies to whether it's personal residence or even rental properties, because most rental property owners want to buy properties that have great cash flow and are going to appreciate over the long term. But today, to buy a traditional single family property or even a multi-unit property, whether it's a 2 or 3, 4 unit or a large multi-family property, it's very difficult to make the cash flow numbers work if you're just buying a traditional long-term rental that you're going to use as a long-term rental for the next many years while you wait for it to appreciate. The cash flow just isn't there. So there's 3 strategies though that I've come across, one of which we do personally that work really, really well in today's environment. And if you stick around to the end, I'll give you a bonus strategy as well. So the first strategy is elderly care facilities. And I know a lot of people think of elderly care facilities as these giant facilities that are multi-million-dollar facilities, and they're more of a commercial property. And that can be one version, but with the number of people that are becoming seniors and getting to a point where they may need an elderly care facility, there's going to be a much bigger need for all different types of these facilities. So about 7 years ago, I had a friend reach out and said, I'm going to be investing in these elderly care facilities. Would you like to invest with me? So I partnered with him on those as sort of a silent partner and got to see how he did this and see how profitable these can be. And so what he did is he went out and he found large ranch homes. So these are like 4, 5, 6, 7 bedroom homes. Some of them were 4-bedroom homes that had a lot of living space that he can add more bedrooms to. And he made them really nice. You rehab them, put in all of the safety features that you need. Some places make you have sprinklers, made them handicap accessible. And then he made each room its own rental. And so he could host then 5, 6, 7 different residents, and they would rent by the room. And the income on each room was over $4,000 per month. So you can do the math on that, and you can figure out that if you have a 7-bedroom, really large ranch home that you're renting each room for over $4,000, that's a lot of income, and that can cash flow really, really well. One thing to think about on these though is that it is more of a business than just a rental. It's certainly not passive income for this type of business because you have to have nurses on staff. You also have to provide meals. So they had somebody come in 3 times a day to make the meals for the residents. So there's ongoing work that needs to be done. Obviously, every day you have to have a presence on site to help with the elderly care. But in a lot of cases, it can be well worth it because the income can be so high. So elderly care facilities is the first option. The second option that works really well in today's environment is group homes. So I just had the founder of Pad Split on my podcast, Atticus LeBlanc. He's a great guy. He founded this company that is sort of like an Airbnb for group homes. So again, these are homes where you target larger properties typically, and a lot of times they just have, it might be a 3-bedroom house, but they have a lot of shared space that you could turn into bedrooms relatively cheaply. You put up a wall and make a dining room a bedroom or a second living room a bedroom. And so in a lot of cases, again, these turn into 7, 8, 9 bedroom homes, and you're renting each bedroom out to, typically it's like young professionals, people who are just getting started, because again, the cost of housing is so high that a lot of people can't afford it right off the bat. And even rent has gone up so much over the last many years that this concept of just renting a room that is yours, but then you have shared common area makes a lot of sense to a lot of people, but yet it's really high cash flow to the investor. So you buy one of these houses, put 7, 8 bedrooms in there, and then you rent each bedroom out. And even if each bedroom is $500, $600 per bedroom, once you have 8 different bedrooms in a house, that adds up a lot. And so what Pad Split does is they actually manage the whole process for you, because I'm sure when you hear this, you're thinking of all the problems that can come up. And that's exactly what I asked him about on my podcast. And they've experienced all those problems and they put systems in place to manage those problems. Like, what if I have something in the fridge and another resident who's staying in another room eats my stuff out of the fridge, And so they have like a rating system for the different residents. So they can rate other residents and they kind of get rid of the bad apples. And then they have a cleaner come in, every other week or something like that to clean all the common areas. So it's not like a set it and forget it, which you see a lot more of with the long-term rentals where it's more passive. You do have to be more involved, but you can hire a company like PadSplit for a small fee and they'll take care of all that for you. So it's a way to really increase your cash flow, because in a lot of cases you can bring in $4,000, $5,000, $6,000 per month on the same property that might have rented for $2,000 or $2,500 a month as a long-term rental. The second option is group homes, but the third option that works really, really well today is the strategy that we've been doing for many years now that works really, really well in this environment, and that is utilitarian style short-term rentals. So a lot of times when I say the term short-term rental, what comes to mind for a lot of people is the high-end single-family vacation rental in really nice common vacation areas. But because Airbnb came out in 2010 and has grown to almost 500 million bookings just last year, it is everywhere. They don't only do high-end vacation rentals anymore. So now you can buy a property. We recommend a property like this. So I'm sitting in one of our historic properties that we rehabbed and turned into a 2-unit short-term rental. It really budget-friendly areas. We're an hour outside of Chicago in Michigan City, Indiana, which is right on Lake Michigan, but it's a working-class industrial town in the Midwest where properties are really affordable. And so we fixed up this historic property and made it a 2-unit property. So now really high income per unit, and it rents out for every reason that you can imagine. So people come here for vacations all summer long. We're booked up almost every single day, both units, or we can book the whole house together and host over 16 people in this property. So it's a really nice property that works well for vacations. But then in the off season, we're close enough to a large population center that people travel all the time for all different reasons. So they'll do weekend getaways, but then they'll also travel for work. They'll travel to see family. They'll travel for weddings, funerals, all different reasons. In this type of property can be super versatile. And again, in an environment where it's very difficult to cash flow. Had we rented this as a 2-unit long-term rental, we'd probably break even or make a little bit of money, but it wouldn't be incredible cash flow. Now we're making incredible cash flow. After all of our expenses on a property like this, we're making around $3,000 a month on average. Obviously, that's much higher in the summer, lower in the winter, but throughout the year, we average about $3,000 a month on a property like this. And when I say utilitarian short-term rental, a lot of people envision like a rundown or a cheap property. That's not what these are. These are still really nice properties. You can do it very budget friendly, and then you can rent them for a lot of different reasons. So if you're interested in this particular strategy, I teach people how to do this strategy all the time. I walk them through the step-by-step process of getting their first really high cash flowing short-term rental. What market makes the most sense? What type of property makes the most sense? What type of financing makes the most sense? How do you set it up and pick all the different amenities that go into a property like that? So if you're interested in that program, you can book a call with me at the link that just popped up. It's livingoffrentals.com/call. And we can get on a call. We can talk through your goals and I can share the details of the program and see if it's a good fit for you. And finally, the bonus strategy. So I've had a few different guests on my podcast recently who are flex space investors. Now, this strategy won't bring in quite as high monthly cash flow, but I really like this strategy, again, because of the versatility of it. So flex space is where you've got commercial units that typically have a garage, bay door, and then typically an office in it as well. So it's got a man door and a garage bay door. And a lot of times they're connected to each other. So you got a row of all of these. So you got great economies of scale, and these can be built relatively cheaply, but each unit can be used for so many different purposes. So you've got industrial uses like a mechanic or a tint shop, to a church could use these, to a CrossFit gym. There's so many different reasons why someone would rent these, and the leases are typically much longer than what you see with residential. So again, if you're looking for something that you're okay with a little bit of trade-offs for the cash flow, but you want something that is really safe, because it can be used for so many different purposes. It can be built relatively inexpensively. And, you've got this long-term locked-in lease where people, once they get in there, a business gets in there, they don't want to jump around. So you've got these leases. So it's a lot more set it and forget it than the other three options, but it can still work really well in today's environment. Hopefully this video has given you some food for thought around what types of rentals could work in today's environment, because I don't think that this environment is changing drastically in the near term. So I think if you focus in and really go deep, as opposed to trying to buy one of all different types of properties, but focus in on one strategy, go deep there, I think it's going to really pay off for you in the long run. Thanks for taking time to check out my video. God bless, and I'll see you in the next video.
Thank you.